Get ready for a shift in your faith like never before. You've waited, prayed, and pushed through challenges for so long, but now God is aligning everything for a breakthrough that will exceed your expectations. Chosen ones, you're standing at the edge of something extraordinary. By the time you finish this message, you'll know there's no turning back. If you're ready to receive, like this message, subscribe and comment 77 as a declaration to the universe. Then in your own words, leave a second comment. Ready for what's next? The moment you do, be prepared for immediate, undeniable signs that your new season has begun. Chapter 1. You felt the tension building inside. You sense a strange heaviness in your spirit, an anticipation that something different, almost surreal, is looming on the horizon. For years, your circumstances have felt repetitive, like you've been circling the same mountain without a clear exit. You might have thought, I've seen it all before. Nothing truly surprises me anymore. But lately, a subtle restlessness has been stirring, telling you a massive shift is imminent. You're not imagining it. God is setting you up for an encounter that will surpass every old pattern and usher you into territory you never even dreamed existed. People around you probably sense the tension too. Family or friends notice you're more withdrawn or contemplative. It's as if your spirit is quietly preparing for a leap you can't fully describe. The signs intensify. At night, you might wake up unexpectedly or feel waves of emotion hitting you out of nowhere. This isn't random restlessness. It's spiritual contractions, the prelude to a literal birth that will transform your day-to-day existence. Yet it's hard to trust this feeling when you've faced disappointment before. You've believed the hype of something big is coming in the past, only to be let down. Now you hesitate, wondering if you're just clinging to hope in a desperate attempt to outrun old wounds. But this time, it's different. There's an urgency in your gut telling you that the season of waiting is closing and your appointment with destiny is around the corner. What you once watched happen to others, but never experienced personally, now it's coming for you in a way that defies all your previous logic. This shift won't just be emotional fluff, it's something real, a tangible event, a breakthrough that will make naysayers scratch their heads. Maybe you've been stuck in financial turmoil, or your health has plateaued at a precarious point, or you've prayed for healing in relationships that seemed hopeless. Whichever area it is, your spirit discerns that it can't remain stagnant. The very laws of your life appear to be bending, making space for the extraordinary. And that's why the tension grows. You can't help but feel something massive is pressing in, challenging all that's familiar. Chosen ones, do you sense the weight of this revelation? This tension isn't a curse. It's the womb of your next spiritual birth. Instead of dreading it, learn to lean into it. Each surge of anticipation is a wave pushing you closer to the shoreline of your promise. Instead of panicking, shift your mindset. If God allowed me to feel this buildup, He's about to reveal something mind-blowing. This is where faith meets fact, where the intangible hope in your heart collides with the divine timetable, forging a new reality that redefines what you can or cannot experience in this life. Chapter 2. You're breaking the ceiling of old patterns. You learn to survive by mastering the same repetitive cycles, maybe in relationships, finances, or personal goals. Each time you did everything right, only to hit a familiar invisible ceiling. No matter your effort, you couldn't surpass that point. It became discouraging, even maddening, like running on a treadmill that never lets you advance. But now something has shifted in your spirit. You're unwilling to circle that same mountain again. And more importantly, God is injecting new strength into your resolve, orchestrating a chain of events that guarantees you'll bust through limitations that once felt permanent. You've likely tried countless methods, reading self-help books, joining support groups, seeking mentors. Yet your breakthroughs came only in partial, fleeting waves. Sure, there'd be a little progress, but eventually life would reel you back to square one. Over time, that built a quiet cynicism within you, leading you to question if real, sustained progress was even possible. But chosen ones, God wasn't ignoring you. He was refining you. All that time, He was preparing you with the insight, humility, and grit necessary to steward a giant leap that you could never manage before. Now you sense it, an unrelenting pressure that says, Enough is enough. People who once benefited from your stuckness seem uneasy, as if they can sense your unstoppable momentum. And you feel a certain boldness rising, a conviction that it's time to stop viewing your obstacles as insurmountable. Maybe the resources or connections you needed weren't available until now. Maybe your heart wasn't fully open to radical change. Regardless, you realize the script is flipped. You're no longer begging for an opportunity. You're on the verge of stepping into it. The emotional triggers that used to sabotage you, they're losing their grip. The vows you once made, I'll never trust again, I'll never take a risk like that again, are dissolving. A supernatural courage is flooding your veins. And it's not just hyped up adrenaline. It's the fruit of God's own spirit fueling your determination. As you adopt new perspectives, old patterns crack under the weight of your expanded mindset. This time, you're not just reading about faith, you're living it day by day, choice by choice, and it's producing results like you never thought possible. In practical terms, this might mean you're turning down offers that once tempted you into complacency. You're setting boundaries you wouldn't have dared to enforce before, or you're signing up for training workshops or launching ventures you previously dismissed as too risky. You're also noticing fresh support from unexpected corners, people stepping forward with open doors or resources, feeling compelled to assist you. When these things happen, let your heart swell with gratitude, but also with clear-eyed vigilance, staying on track and never losing sight of the direction God has set for you. Remember, each time you push past the comfort zone, you're effectively smashing that old glass ceiling. You're preparing the ground for the unprecedented event you're about to experience. A life-upending, soul-affirming triumph that defies your personal history. That ceiling you once saw as your upper limit will lie in shards behind you. You'll look back and realize that it was never truly unbreakable. It just required the perfect moment in God's timing, coupled with your unwavering commitment to bring it crashing down. Chapter 3. You must embrace the fear that signals your growth. You feel it in the pit of your stomach, maybe even taste its bitterness in your throat. See here, that raw, clenching emotion now whispers, what if this ends in disaster again? Who do you think you are to hope for this? It's a voice that's kept you small, tethered to safety. But chosen ones, fear often shows up precisely when you're on the brink of something magnificent. It's not always a red stoplight. Sometimes it's the green flag signaling you to push through because a monumental shift is at hand. Think of your past attempts at transformation, whether launching a business, healing a fractured relationship, or taking a leap of faith in your career. The deeper your aspiration, the louder the fear roared. In some cases, the fear won, immobilizing you or leading you to self-sabotage, but now you sense that giving in is no longer an option. Something in you is done with letting worry define your boundaries. This time you're leaning into faith, determined to see fear as a signpost that you're finally challenging the status quo. Here's the truth. Real progress is impossible without risk, without fear. If you never feel that knot in your stomach, chances are you're not stretching enough to trigger new outcomes. Comfort zones are alluring, but they're spiritual cul-de-sacs leading nowhere new. Yet fear doesn't automatically indicate danger. It can also indicate uncharted territory. And if you're chosen by God for an extraordinary destiny, uncharted territory is your natural habitat. One strategy is to name the fear plainly. Journal or pray, I'm afraid of letting people down. I'm afraid I'll lose everything if this backfires. By articulating it, you rob fear of its power to lurk in vague corners of your mind. From there, move into prayer. Offer that fear to God, acknowledging that He wouldn't plant such a fervent desire in your heart if He planned to let it crumble to dust. Then, do something small but meaningful each day that contradicts your fear. If you're scared of speaking publicly, volunteer to share a small testimony in a safe group. If you dread financial risk, start by investing a small, manageable sum. Each baby step shrinks fear's influence, replacing it with proof that you can handle more than you thought. Also, surround yourself with believers, those who see your potential and won't reinforce your anxieties. Negativity from others can magnify your inner doubts, whereas encouraging voices confirm that, yes, you were made for more. Yet even supportive friends can't do the faith for you. You must personally act in defiance of fear. That's the difference between daydreaming and destiny, action in the face of trembling knees and pounding hearts. The moment you push forward, fear's volume might spike, but it will soon diminish, giving way to confidence in the first real glimpses of success. In facing fear head-on, you'll discover a remarkable principle. Courage isn't the absence of anxiety, but the decision that something else, your calling, your future, your promise, is more valuable than the comfort of avoiding risk. And once you've tasted the thrill of conquering that demon, it becomes easier each time. Before you know it, you'll look back and marvel at how your dread of the unknown transformed into the catalyst for a life event so extraordinary, you can only credit God's hand in it. Chapter 4. You're about to break every expectation others had for you. Your environment often acts like a mold, trying to press you into a certain shape. Family members, co-workers, and even friends believe they know your limits. They might encourage you, but only within the narrow scope of what they think is realistic. If your dreams outgrow those boundaries, they dismiss them as fantasy. Yet the more you listen to God's direction in this season, the clearer it becomes that you're meant to shatter these expectations completely. The event you're approaching will be so bold, so beyond what people expect of you, it'll reshape how they see you forever. Perhaps you grew up in a setting that celebrated stability over ambition or prized tradition above innovation. When you started entertaining larger visions, moving to a different country, starting a charitable enterprise, or becoming the first in your family to hold a certain degree, it threatened the status quo. You felt the subtle resistance, the raised eyebrows, the half-hearted compliments, the well-meaning warnings of, "Don't get your hopes up," but inside your spirit wouldn't stop resonating with that bigger call. Now you're on the verge of materializing a breakthrough so undeniable that even the most skeptical observers will be forced to reconsider. The co-worker who once gloated about your lack of qualifications, their words will crumble. The relative who said, "Our family just isn't built for that kind of success," will stand in awe as you cross the finish line. Your personal victory will double as a public demonstration that God's plan for you was never constrained by human opinion. Some might fight this shift. People who once felt superior or comfortable seeing you in a lesser state could bristle at your elevation. But be at peace. Their disapproval doesn't negate your calling. Instead, it confirms it. Light often provokes discomfort in those used to the dark. Continue to move with humility, not arrogance. You're not stepping on others to rise. You're simply embracing the seat at the table that God's been preparing for you. If they choose to interpret that as intimidation, that's their journey to resolve. As for those who root for you in earnest, watch how their joy amplifies your triumph. They'll celebrate with you, glean hope from your testimony, and perhaps even gain the courage to follow their own dormant aspirations. This is how your personal step forward triggers a collective awakening. Your success becomes a sign to others that their own glass ceilings can be cracked. Far from a solitary win, your light influences a wider network, rippling out to spark potential in people you'll never even meet. In practical terms, this might show up as a sudden promotion, a scholarship that nobody expected you to land, or a creative project that catapults you into a new sphere of influence. Whatever the specifics, it dwarfs your former achievements, including the ones you once thought enormous. You're no longer just an improved version of your old self. You're almost an entirely different person, someone whose life contradicts the limitations everyone placed on them. And when they ask, "How did you do it?" you'll simply say, "I followed the calling. I refused to settle for less." In that moment, your story becomes a testament that neither background nor external doubt can thwart a chosen one who aligns with destiny. Chapter 5. You're moving into realms of influence you never imagined. You once prayed for modest blessings, perhaps a stable job, decent relationships, or a bit of recognition. But God often surpasses small expectations. When you embrace your true identity, suddenly doors to greater influence fling open, doors you never imagined knocking on. Invitations come to speak where you once listened quietly, or to lead projects bigger than anything you've handled before. At first, you might question your qualifications. Imposter syndrome may whisper about your past struggles or lack of credentials. Yet divine appointments rarely align with human logic. God loves placing the underqualified where grace, not resume points, is the differentiator. Your unique mix of past failures and unwavering faith becomes a potent asset. Others may have the degrees, but your scars testify to real transformation, resonating powerfully in these new arenas. Realms of influence can mean many things. A broader platform in your career, greater reach in your creativity, or a deeper role in your community. It might even be intangible, like moral authority or visionary foresight that reshapes institutions. Whatever form it takes, it's larger than your comfort zone. That's how you know it's God orchestrated. Your small plans give way to vast territory, compelling daily reliance on divine wisdom. Yet new levels come with pressures. Not everyone in these higher circles will celebrate you. Some may question your credibility or try to derail your progress. Your safeguard is the authenticity that brought you here. There's no need for showmanship. Humble sincerity remains your strength. The God who elevated you will protect you, provided you stay grounded. Crucially, this influence isn't just for personal gain. Your elevation connects to your capacity to uplift others. Each new seat you occupy is both a privilege and a duty. You might champion causes you never thought you'd have a voice in, bridging gaps for those still stuck in mindsets you've outgrown. Influence, then, becomes more than titles or PR. It becomes a channel through which God's grace flows into places once closed off. Stepping into these responsibilities also refines you internally. Influence demands deeper faith, proper discernment, and spiritual maturity. Old insecurities might resurface, but each victory over self-doubt unlocks fresh wisdom and peace. The world sees your outward rise while you sense God forging you inwardly to match your external expansion. In time, you look back and grasp the importance of the initial tension that hinted at something extraordinary ahead. It was never just about your own journey, it was about forging a path for others. Real influence means becoming a beacon, guiding those who will come after you. And as you reflect, you'll realize each step was guided carefully, purposefully, long before you recognize the grand plan unfolding. Chapter 6. You must guard your heart against distractions and doubts. As new blessings unfold, distractions inevitably follow, some disguised as opportunities, others as seemingly supportive connections that covertly drain your focus. Doubts also arise whether from your own lingering insecurities or from those around you who don't grasp your vision. If you don't guard your heart, you risk derailing your progress before reaping the full benefits of the season. One common pitfall is overcommitting to peripheral tasks. Once people notice your broader platform or influence, they may ask for your involvement in countless endeavors. Though many requests are noble, you have limited time and emotional energy. Chosen ones must discern which opportunities align with God's purpose in this phase. Politely decline well-intended invitations that don't serve your primary mission. Doubts can prove just as damaging. Old memories of failure may surface, tempting you to believe, I'm a fraud, or I got lucky. Recognize such thoughts as lies. Your worth isn't measured by perfection, but by faithfully following divine nudges. If God positioned you for this, He's already accounted for any flaws. Your task is not to become instantly perfect, but to remain teachable and keep advancing. Be wary of manipulative personalities seeking to attach themselves to you for selfish reasons. They might use compliments, guilt, or constant demands to drain your resources. Guarding your heart means upholding strong boundaries. Compassion doesn't require enabling, and you shouldn't allow unhealthy attachments to derail your mission. To maintain clarity, establish daily spiritual routines, prayer, journaling, or reflective walks. Seek God's guidance on potential tracks and the best next steps. Not every open door is a blessing. Some are pitfalls masquerading as opportunities. Don't hesitate to pause and reassess. In fast-paced environments, purposeful retreat helps you distinguish between fruitful endeavors and distractions. You may also need to adjust personal relationships as you ascend. Not everyone is willing or able to grow alongside you. If someone remains negative or undermines your progress, limit their access to your heart. This isn't betrayal. It's defending the sacred territory you've been given. Embrace those who encourage your growth and offer supportive counsel. These are allies, not diversions. By safeguarding your mind and spirit, you allow emerging blessings to take root. You protect yourself from burnout, confusion, and unnecessary setbacks. The outcome is that you not only retain your blessing, but also multiply it, catalyzing further expansion. Each boundary set and each doubt conquered affirms your commitment to this extraordinary calling, preparing you for even greater miracles on the horizon. Chapter 7. You are entering a realm of miraculous favor. You feel it in every fiber of your being, an anticipation that what's coming is no mere coincidence, but a miracle that redefines your life. You've endured trials, prayed fervently, and kept your heart open. Now, chosen one, you're about to see God's favor in ways you once thought were impossible. Suddenly, you realize you're living one of those incredible blessing stories you once doubted were for you. Miraculous favor doesn't tiptoe. It arrives with undeniable impact. People used to your setbacks won't know how to explain your abrupt rise. You do, though. God orchestrated every detail. This next season brings enormous responsibility. Favor is never just for self-gain. Your story becomes a bridge, urging others to believe for their own breakthroughs. Relatives, co-workers, or friends may witness your transformation and finally dare to pursue their hidden dreams. Yet amid favor, you must stay grounded. It's easy to drift into pride if you forget the humility shaped by your earlier struggles. Keep faith that says, I can't believe God chose me. Gratitude anchors you, ensuring you don't forget how many tears, prayers, and trials laid the foundation for this moment. Every good thing is on loan from above. Some illusions you once clung to may dissolve now. That's natural. Favor demands room for bigger visions and healthier alliances, stripping away anything that can't follow you to this altitude. If the swift ascent feels dizzying, take your time, but don't retreat. This is the realm you're destined to occupy, not just a temporary high. From this vantage, everything glows with fresh possibility. Doors that once slammed shut now stand open. Finances, relationships, or creative breakthroughs flow in ways you never expected. The word impossible loses all power in your vocabulary. This isn't fleeting luck. It's an ongoing invitation to a life of awe and purpose. Embrace it fully. When doubt creeps in, recall how far you've come. No obstacle remains insurmountable now. Each day in this realm testifies that God's promises weren't mere words. They are life woven into your circumstances. Let your light shine as proof that, yes, this can happen, echoing so strongly that you'll spend years marveling over each miraculous detail.